Coming in at number 69, we have New Orleans Saints cornerback Marshon Lattimore. And this is pretty interesting to me because generally when I'm making these videos, I feel like I have a good sense for where I'm placing them relative to the general public, right? Obviously, I know when I put Deshaun Watson at number 80 or Chris Godwin at number 87 to expect just a tsunami of negative feedback because I am pretty substantially underrating those guys compared to where the average football fan is expected to put them, right? Whereas on the flip side, I might surprise some people when I put, say, Leonard Fournette at number 89 or Demario Davis at number 83 because maybe they aren't household names on a top 100 list like this, right? Well, with Marshon, I don't necessarily know where that consensus lies, primarily because I feel like it's lied in a bunch of different places since he's entered the league, right? Obviously, back in 2017 when he bust on the scene out of OSU, this man, he came to play day one, and that's so rare to see from a cornerback simply because it's one of the hardest positions to translate from college to the NFL, and Marshon did it with flying colors, right? And as a result, there are people heralding him as a top 5, sometimes even top 3 cornerback just off that rookie season alone. And here I was saying, pump the brakes, we got to see more. Well, now we've seen more. It's 2020 now, and his play hasn't dipped at all. If anything, he's got better. Yet now you look online and you're going to see people sometimes not having him in their top 5s, top 10s. And, one national media outlet, they didn't even have him in their top 15 cornerbacks list. And to me, that just seems insane almost, because sure, the interception totals aren't where they were that rookie season. But the problem is if you're just basing a cornerback's kind of productivity off INTs, then you're clearly mistaken in how you're looking at things, right? This man, he's played 1,725 snaps over the past 2 years. If you're just going to judge him off those 3 INTs or off the 150 targets, then I don't know what you're doing because you're just limiting that sample size and you're not crediting him for what he does on a play-to-play basis that makes him so special. And first things first, in terms of what has made Lattimore so dominant since day one, to me, you've got to start with his ability to just so effectively and so easily mirror and match opposing wide receivers, right? As that kind of is at the root of everything you're going to do as a cornerback, and it's what has made him so solid in both zone and man coverage, respectively, right? So I grabbed a couple quick plays here. This first one is going to be against Adam Thielen of the Minnesota Vikings, right? And we all know how good of a route runner and how clean of a release Thielen typically does get. I went over him in my number 79 video. Click the link above my head if you haven't seen that one. But watch how Lattimore just does such a great job of keeping his hips square to Thielen's the entire time. He doesn't get them out of whack. He doesn't overreact to Thielen initially trying to sell him on this outside release. He just stays calm and confident in his ability to just so fluidly essentially do exactly what Thielen does, if that makes sense. And what you're going to see is off the snap, watch Thielen again. He's going to go hard towards that outside hip, and when a lot of cornerbacks, they might start to turn and go expecting to have maybe an out route or streak route or something towards the outside. What Lattimore does, he just stays square to Thielen, and once he sees Thielen put that hard right foot in the ground, look at how he's just able to so quickly show off a drop step with that right foot, cross over with his left as he turns, changes direction, and goes and makes the play at that catch point. Just so effective, and this is stuff that Lattimore does on a game-to-game basis that makes him so good. And here's another great example. This time it's going to be against the Jaguars' promising young wide receiver DJ Chark, where what you're going to see is essentially Chark, he's going to hit a quick stutter step off the line of scrimmage and break inside. Well, watch how Lattimore, he's just right there stride for stride with him the entirety of this route. And as a result, I don't even know exactly what route this was. As Lattimore, he does get pretty physical there, hands-on through a decent bit of that route stem. And ultimately, he's able to come up with an INT because he is just right there in Chark's hip pocket the entire time. As I said, I don't even know what type of route this was supposed to be. I think it just got disrupted from the start because Lattimore being right there the entire time. And as a result, he gets rewarded, comes up with an INT, and flips the field for the Saints. And apologies for the background shift. You might have been wondering if the window just disappeared behind me. No, there was a dog going freaking crazy outside. So we had to change locations, call an audible, but we were all good. So what I wanted to talk about next, though, was Marshon's fluidity, right? As it really is just fundamental to his ability to so easily cover guys in space. As what I want you to notice on this play here is just how patient Marshon can be in waiting for you to commit to a route, right? As you saw it on that Thielen play earlier where Marshon just keeps his hips square to the line of scrimmage. He doesn't have to overcommit like a lot of stiffer cornerbacks might because they're worried about getting beat deep, right? Well, watch on this play. Samuel, he has a very similar release to Thielen. He's going to go hard at that outside hip, but whereas many corners, they might turn and run initially and then potentially get beat underneath on that slant back across the inside as we saw Thielen do earlier. Watch how watch how Samuel, he does take it deep, and how Lattimore is just so easily ready to just simply turn and run and stay right in his hip pocket all the way downfield until he's ultimately able to cause a pass deflection at that catch point. Just wildly impressive because, again, there's so many corners who, even though they might have Marshon's speed, they might have his acceleration or his strength, a lot of them don't have his fluidity, and it really is just so important to that patience that he's able to have in terms of not biting on something before he has to, if that makes sense. And hand in hand with fluidity comes kind of your change of direction ability as well, right? So I just wanted to highlight a quick play here where you're going to see Marshon, he's going to get his hips turned around a little bit on this comeback route by Mike Evans, but watch how he's just so easily able to stop on a dime, turn his hips, and just accelerate to that catch point where he's ultimately able to make a play on the ball and prevent the completion by Evans. It's just so impressive because, again, so many corners, once Evans does turn his hips and starts that comeback part of the route, he's able to get separation. Well, not against a guy like Lattimore, because he is just so fluid and so able to change directions on really just the drop of a hat. And even when Lattimore does get beat a little bit as the receiver is able to create some extra separation at the top of that route, Lattimore, he just flashes that elite recovery speed. And, this is an instance where you see that combine speed on display as the man ran a 4.36, and you most certainly see it. As watch how on this play, he's going to have outside leverage on Adam Thielen. And once Thielen does put a foot in the ground and tries to essentially sell him on a post route, Lattimore does have to turn his hips and run because, again, he has outside leverage. If Case Keenum on this play does deliver this ball to the inside, he's going to get beat, right? So he does start to sell out a little bit earlier than he had on those previous plays. Watch how once Thielen does put that right foot in the ground, essentially hits him with a double move as he's going to break it back towards the sidelines here, right at that first down marker. Look at how Lattimore's able to just so quickly, again, put a foot in the ground and recover on the play, just showing great burst and great short area quickness and ultimately recovery speed to go break up that ball at the catch point. Just wildly impressive because, again, a lot of times this is a huge game for opposing wide receivers against the normal cornerback. Well, Lattimore's not a normal cornerback because he is just so quick even when he is beat. And if you're tracking to this point, you have somebody who's great at mirror and matching, somebody who shows, great fluidity, someone who's good at changing directions, someone who has great recovery speed. Mash all that together, what do you get? You get one of the league's best man coverage corners, right? And Marshon is certainly elite in this area. As you're going to have him here going up against Emmanuel Sanders, now teammate, where I just love how you kind of get a sense of the fact that Marshon, he's perfectly balanced, right? As what you're going to see on this play is the 49ers, they're going to run a pick play for Marshon, where essentially what happens here is if he's too quick to react and he's overly eager, he's going to run right into George Kittle, and Emmanuel's going to get a free release over the middle, right? Well, if he's too patient on the play and he's slow to react, what's going to happen is he's going to get about a step or two behind Sanders, who's just a more explosive athlete than most corners, as he's going to, again, get a free release over the middle. Well, Lattimore, he's kind of right in that perfect zone of he's just patient enough, but just explosive enough to watch how he's going to be able to stay right in Sanders' hip pocket once he clears George Kittle and force an incompletion. It's just great stuff where, again, you see kind of that perfect balance of everything we've talked about to this point as he's able to suffocate Sanders once he gets past Kittle and force an incompletion at that catch point. Just points like these are so impressive because, again, it's made to where if you're one extreme or the other, you're getting beat. Well, Lattimore, he's not on either extreme. He's incredibly balanced right in the middle there as someone who's not only patient but also explosive, and as a result, he's able to make plays like these on a consistent basis. And if you guys did watch my number 70 video, the last one about Marlon Humphrey, you'll know that one of the criticisms I had of Humphrey's game is that he doesn't really have to follow number one receivers around the field, right? He'll often find himself on inferior 2s and 3s. Well, the same can't be said for Marshon Lattimore, as you're going to see him here on these next couple plays just neutralize Amari Cooper, right, who's one of the best at creating separation in the entire NFL simply due to his route running ability. Watch how Lattimore, he's stuck to him like absolute glue. And no matter where Amari's going, Marshon's right there with him, essentially just in his head, playing the chess match and winning, right? And that's what is so impressive to me because he is only a third-year player going into his fourth year, yet he is so effective at neutralizing these number one threats, whereas a lot of younger cornerbacks, they don't have to take on that responsibility. Marshon has, and he continues to, and that's what really sets him apart, is just plays like that where you see him right there in the hip pocket, making plays on the ball week in and week out. And here's another great example where, off the snap, you're going to see the patience, then you're going to see the fluidity as he does turn and go. You're going to see the change of direction ability, the recovery speed. You're just going to see it all as he's able to beat Amari Cooper to the ball and force force an incompletion and ultimately a turnover on downs here for the Cowboys. Just plays like these are so impressive because, again, Amari, he's such a great route runner that this is probably working and probably is going to be a first down against 95% of the NFL's cornerbacks. Well, not Marshon Lattimore, because, again, he's just so great at sticking in that hip pocket. And even when he's not, he's so great at recovering and beating you to that catch point that he's able to force incompletions consistently. And kind of transitioning out of his man coverage ability into his zone coverage ability, the first thing I want to talk about was Marshon's range. As you know, when you're going to put a guy in a deep half or deep third zone, you need someone who can cover a lot of ground, and boy, can Marshon Lattimore. You know, this play right here, this is like an Ed Reed-like play or Earl Thomas-like play. It's just incredibly freaky, as what you're going to see is him start at the, 37, 38-yard line here. But what I want you to notice is watch how off the snap, he's going to initially drop back, but as soon as that receiver on his side starts to break across the middle, look at how Marshon, he's already getting his eyes across the field, realizing that, no, there's no threats to his deep zone any longer on this side. So what is he going to do? He's going to track deep and try and help out his fellow defender on the other side. And what you're going to see is, ultimately, he's going to trace this ball down, but 40 yards downfield at the opposite 20-yard line. Do you realize how just insane that is for a cornerback where, you know, again, that was a wide receiver that he never technically was supposed to even have eyes on? That's just a beautiful play here. As again, you're going to see it from this view as you can get a better angle of the actual interception. But man, just like, again, Ed Reed's making these plays. Yet here's Marshon Lattimore, a cornerback, going up, high pointing the ball and flipping the field for the Saints. It's just wildly impressive and so rare to see, and that's why I had to include it on this video. And here's another really good example. This time it's against the Bears in a cover 3 where he's going to have the deep third on the defensive right side of the field. But what you're going to see is Marshon, just again, how easy it is for him to cover so much ground so quickly, right? As look at how once he reads that, you know, Anthony Miller might be the primary target on this play, look at how he just is able to not only go back, but he's also able to work inwards towards Miller and essentially meet him at that catch point as he goes up and almost makes an interception if he was able to keep his feet in bounds. Just wildly impressive stuff because, again, technically this isn't a guy in his zone, but the whole point of Marshon is that he's able to just roam anywhere on that back end, and that's what makes him so special. And you know, even if he wasn't such a great cornerback, he could maybe be a good free safety based off plays like these. And in terms of zone coverage, here we are. As you know, one thing that's just so great about Marshon to me is his ability to so easily be aware and recognize guys that are and are not threats to his zone. As in this case, again, he's going to be in that same deep cover 3 zone. Well, what I want you to see is how initially off the snap, he's going to be in the hip pocket of this Eagles receiver. But once he recognizes, okay, he's breaking inward, he's not going to be a threat to my zone. Look at how, even though his head is turned and he really probably can't see Zach Ertz right now, look at how he just has the wherewithal to slow down and let Ertz almost catch up to him so that way he can regain leverage on this route in the event that Ertz does go deep. And look at how, again, he's able to just stay right in Ertz's hip pocket, flash that recovery speed as he goes up and makes a beautiful high point catch to prevent the Eagles from getting in the red zone in a playoff game. Just plays like these are so impressive because, again, I don't even know if he had eyes on Ertz initially, but he's just so good at reading and reacting to the quarterback's eyes and to what everybody else is doing that he's always aware and tuned in to the highest of levels to who could potentially be a threat to his own. And as a result here, you see him stuck to Zach Ertz like glue downfield, coming up with a huge INT. And here's another great one. You know, I could have put this in a variety of categories as, you know, I called it zone coverage because obviously he is playing zone, but it's going to be against Calvin Ridley, who is, as a lot of people know, he's probably one of the league's best young route runners. But look at how, again, even though his hips were turned a little bit once he recognizes Ridley's breaking back, he's able to just so easily flip his back and, you know, make a break on the ball and ultimately break up that potential reception at the catch point, forcing a fourth down here by the Falcons. Just so impressive because it doesn't matter man or zone. He's so good at just mirroring and matching. He's so good at staying in these receivers' hip pockets and getting a good break on the football to prevent these first down conversions by opposing wide receivers. And even though the INT totals haven't necessarily been there, if you think that ball skills is simply your hands, well then to me you're sadly mistaken because there is, as I've mentioned in previous videos, there's so much hand-eye coordination and timing that goes into swatting these footballs away and batting balls away at the catch point, right? As you know, that's exactly what you're going to see here where Marshon, he's able to play the shallow zone where initially he's able to shuck DJ Chark off, pass him off to Patrick Robinson here, and then put a foot in the ground as he, again, stays square to the line of scrimmage and gets a nice break on this ball by D.D. Westbrook where, you know, if he does allow that reception, then there's really no one there to make that tackle as Robinson. He has his head flipped, and this is going to be an easy first down for Westbrook. But, again, Lattimore, he's just going to show off that great hand-eye coordination, that great timing. As look at how he's just so able to toss that right hand in there and force an incompletion. Just wildly impressive stuff by Lattimore that really is at the root of him causing so many incompletions. I know, as I said, the INTs weren't there, but if you trust PFF and their kind of statistics, I mean, the man was targeted 77 times and only allowed 41 completions. That's about a 52% completion percentage, which compared to the rest of the league, that's fantastic, right? And a lot of it comes down to the fact that even when there are well-thrown balls, he is able to utilize that hand-eye coordination to bat him away. And here's just a beautiful play by Lattimore where, again, you're going to see so much of the stuff we've talked about to this point in terms of the fluidity, the change of direction skills, the recovery speed. But look at how he's all over this corner route by T.Y. Hilton to the point that he's able to undercut it and just make an absolutely beautiful pass deflection at the top of the route. He's essentially able to high point it and bat it away. Just so impressive. As if you can't see it on the video very well, you can obviously see it here in this picture. Just look at how high up he is going and batting this ball out of the sky before a guy like T.Y. is even able to come down with it and even have a chance with it. And even though Marshon is most certainly an elite coverage guy, I did want to add just a couple slides here at the end to talk about his physicality and ability to play the run, right? As this play, it's not going to be a run play, it's just going to be a simple little curl route here to Julio Jones. Well, look at how just physical Marshon is in his ability to get his head, his helmet right on the football and force a really nice incompletion on one of the league's best wide receivers. Just plays like these are so impressive because, again, a lot of guys don't have the physicality to come down and lay the hit on Julio Jones, but Marshon's not one of those guys. So no, while he might not be as physical or as dominant a presence as, say, Marlon Humphrey is in my previous video, he's certainly above average compared to the normal cornerback, and that's why I did want to add these last couple slides in here to show him making nice plays physically with his body. And I like this next play here because we're going to see the physicality this time against the run, right? As you're going to have Dalvin Cook on a quick toss coming right towards Lattimore and his side. Well, what you're going to see is there's not a lot of help to this side of the field. So Lattimore, he's tasked with setting the edge and either forcing Dalvin to bubble out further towards the sidelines or to cut it back inside to where his help is. And Lattimore, he just does a great job of fighting off Thielen's block, getting extension with his long arms, and then forcing Dalvin out of bounds. Whereas, what you see here is, just imagine if Thielen is able to wall off Lattimore. What you're going to see from this point is Dalvin, he has the explosiveness and the acceleration to hit this edge and hit it hard, right? So if Thielen does make this block and Lattimore's not able to shed it, just imagine this defender here, he gets caught in the wash. He's not going to be able to make the play. Dalvin has a 60-yard touchdown. But why is that prevented? Because Marshon does a great job of shedding that block, getting Thielen off of him, and forcing Dalvin to bubble out towards the sidelines and preventing what could have been a huge gain. And last but not least, I did want to touch on, just for one slide here, Marshon's ability as an open field tackler, right? As he's certainly not on the level of, say, Jalen Ramsey or Marlon Humphrey. There's levels to this, right? And by no means is he a liability against the run. And as guys are transitioning from ball catcher to ball carrier, as a lot of players are, he's actually very solid and very above average. And just because you're not the most elite doesn't mean it should go unnoticed, right? And that's why I wanted to talk about just here real quick. As Pro Football Reference, for example, they just recently started tracking advanced stats, and I kind of take them with a grain of salt. But in Marshon's case, he played 819 snaps last year, and they recorded him having missed only 5 tackles. And even if that is plus or minus a couple, having watched the vast majority of his snaps, I can tell you I don't think it's plus very many because he is just pretty solid against the run here. And in this case, when a guy like Brandon Cooks does have one-on-one in space, he's very solid. And when you consider again what he offers in the coverage end, it's just so impressive. And that's why ultimately he is number 69 on my list. And as always, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you not only leave a thumbs up, but also leave a comment as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on my evaluation of Marshon, but almost more importantly, I'd love to hear your evaluation and your ranking of him in regards to just cornerbacks as a whole, right? As I said in the intro, I'm not really sure where that consensus lies. So tell me, where do you think he lands? Is he a top 3 cornerback, top 5, top 10, top 15? Where would you put him? Ultimately, if you want to see where I put him, make sure you subscribe, because there's going to be 68 more videos in this series. There's going to be quite a few more cornerbacks, quite a few more Saints if you're a New Orleans fan. And if you're just a football fan, I'm sure some of your favorite players will be well represented as well. So with that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm mic'd up, and I'm mic'ing out. Peace, guys.